Viewer discretion is advised, as always. This episode of Hi and Hello is brought to you in part by the color purple, the pigment, not the show. You love us on Facebook, now check us out on SoundCloud. Just type in Hi and Hello Podcast. So get your friends and gather around because another episode of Hi and Hello starts in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's a flint.
Is it a hit
Flint for like a match?
Striking a match, yeah.
I think there's going to be a match in there. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
If they put that in there, I'm putting money on a match. Yep, found a match.
He also gave me this one.
Nice. Another bullet knife. Did you tell him that you opened it and found the other bullet knife?
No, I haven't.
There's your match. It stays lit for a super long time. This is a survival knife, dude.
He hooked it up. I didn't even think to look deep into it.
Oh, there's a gram of coke in here.
There's a gram.
Your 12-year-old brother's cool. Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording. Hey, everybody. Welcome
Hey, everybody.
to another episode of Hi and Hello. I'm Tyler, as always. I'm joined today with one of my older brothers from the womb to the tomb, Mr. Jay Becknell. Can I say your full name?
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
said it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever said somebody's full name on here.
Well, that's not even my actual real full name.
Yeah, that's your
Right.
pseudonym kind of thing. Well, right on. So right now, everybody, we are looking at this crazy, Bowie, or I almost said Bowie knife. Is it Bowie knife or Bowie
I
knife?
think it's a commando knife.
It's like a commando
I
knife.
think that's the technical term for it.
Well, it's pretty. Oh, there's another one of the matches. My brother gave me this really badass. Oh God, there's a compass on the bottom of here.
I don't know, man. You can survive with this thing.
I could survive for days on this thing.
So
Bunch
far,
of
there's
matches.
another match.
Very special matches.
Fishing line.
We got some fishing line.
Yeah, with a hook.
Holy shit. Fishing line and a hook. We got like 2, 3, 4, 5. What are the difference? I know there's different color matches for different reasons. I could have swore that green was like the everything kind of strike. But what are up with these ones, man? Do you know anything about these matches?
I think these burn long. I'm just guessing because of the longer
Right.
crap on the end.
I don't know what's up with the pink with the blue tips.
I think the pink with the blue tips are strike anywheres.
Don't waste a strike anywhere, man. Might need this shit.
Right? Yeah.
That's wicked. And then yeah, there's the strips for that. Well, dope. Thanks, Tucker.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. Put this all back together. Yeah, I had never stopped to think to unscrew the bottom.
Yeah, you actually found another bullet knife too.
Yeah, I found another bullet knife.
You
This is
have
amazing. He left a knife, or he left a bullet in his knife, and then he gifted me knives in bullets.
nice.
It's so confusing. Like, he doesn't get the general principle of it all.
You have 2 more bullet knives than anyone I know.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Thanks, Tuck. He's a good kid, man. He's a real good kid. He's got a lot of guns, though, dude. And the weird thing is he's not like NRA brainwashed.
Well, that's
Which was
cool.
interesting. Like he's super responsible and respectful with his shit. But man, I don't know, dude. Like you never really know with like how people develop and how like their lives change. Like I'm sure everyone who's done something very bad at some point did something very nice, you know. And someone's like, that guy's a nice dude, you know. Like, did you hear he did this? What's your craziest like? Did you hear about that guy like that you've ever come across? Because you were a karaoke DJ in the city. That's something we haven't talked yet. But you know what? Actually, before we dive into it, Jay, we got interrupted. This is what I do every time. Tell me about yourself, man. Where you from?
Whoa.
Give me the backstory.
My name is Jay Becknell. I was born in the buckle of the Bible Belt, Greer, South Carolina. I got out of there as soon as fucking possible, and yeah, I've tried not to go back. It's only to see family. It's pretty horrible.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah.
What pushed you away? Like, what was it that just kind of like, or you know what? Better yet, what brought you to Chicago then?
Oh man, that is a...
Was it getting pushed away from that area, or was it just adventure?
I left there shortly after I turned 21. Me and my wife now left Greenville. We met in the theater at Greenville and left there for Asheville, North Carolina, which is a nice, not as religious place in North Carolina, which is still incredibly conservative, but it's a nice little blue pocket in the red state. And we were there for a while in a comedy troupe, and wanted to continue doing comedy, but move on to a better city for comedy. And we moved here to Chicago and started our own comedy troupe, and did that for a few years until it turned kind of sour. And we stopped doing comedy, but continued to love Chicago, so stayed here another 7 years, about 10 years in total.
No shit.
Yeah.
So, what was your first job in the city?
My first job in the city was waiting tables at a British restaurant called Bananas Foster. It was early morning shift. I would work breakfast and just upsell like crazy. The chefs hated me because I would come up with dishes on the fly. So people would order pancakes, and I would ask them, "Hey, would you like that a la mode?" Yeah, who doesn't want pancakes with syrup and ice cream? So yeah, I came up with the breakfatizer. If anybody else is using that, that's mine, trademark breakfatizer.
What's the breakfatizer?
Just a breakfast side before the rest
Like
of your
an
breakfast
appetizer.
dishes came out. Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
appetizer. It was basically, I would sell French fries to people. We called them home fries, little cottage fries, little round slices, like thicker than a potato chip.
Right.
Consistency of a fry. And I would sell them that with a side of hollandaise sauce. I'd always ask, when anybody ordered fries, I was like, would you like a side of hollandaise sauce with that? Because who doesn't want to dip fried potatoes
Right.
into hollandaise
Hollandaise
sauce?
sauce.
Right? Yeah.
It's so weird, man. There's so many different fucking options, and I feel like everyone just sticks to ketchup. You know what I'm saying? It's so weird.
It's such an inferior condiment.
All right, man. So where'd you find your home in Chicago? Not like where did you live, but where became your haven, your running parts?
Man, first bar that I got a karaoke gig at in Chicago was this little place called Bridget McNeil's.
Bridget McNeil's.
Yeah, it was a little bar at the bottom of a big apartment right off of Inner Lakeshore Drive in Belmont, I think. And that was a lot of fun. That was my first little stomping ground. Didn't do that for long, though. I karaoke'd for quite a few years at Hamilton's, and that was a madhouse of underage drinking hijinks.
I've heard so much about that place, but it was right before my time.
Yeah, man,
It
you
was
missed
like
out.
5 years before my time, roughly.
Probably like 3 to 5,
3 to
maybe not
5.
even a full 5.
I
Yeah.
was fucking around on someone's couch. You guys were partying like it was the end of the world.
Oh man, it was ridiculous. One of the funniest nights of underage shenanigans that I can remember was it was a girl's birthday party, and one of her friends came up and said, "Happy 20th first birthday!" But there was a long pause between 20th and first, and a really terrified look when she realized she said 20th. Yeah, it was quite funny.
It's fucking hilarious. I just had to move those books to show you that.
Oh, nice. We're looking at a picture of me from our one of our latest parties where we had, it was a National Museum Day, and everybody came dressed like a historical figure or somebody from a museum. Somebody came dressed up as a docent, and I went dressed as Gandhi.
And it was pretty fantastic. It was so great that I had to frame it. I would laugh so hard every time I see that picture. Not in a bad way. It was just like, it looks so good. Like, it's perfect. It's perfect. Oh, it's fucking awesome. But, right on, man. Hamilton sounds fucking sweet. I wish, I do and I don't. Was it just, like, annoyingly underage? Like,
Yeah,
you know
most
what
of the
I'm
time.
saying? Like,
the slow nights were always fun. Anytime you're a karaoke DJ, it's horrible for the bartenders in the bar, but the slow nights you get to hang out with your closest friends, people that aren't only there to sing karaoke, but that you know personally. And you get to hang out with the bartenders more. Whereas busy nights, normally if it's karaoke in a college town, it's wall to wall,
it's fucking
just
chaos,
prostitutes and fraternisexuals.
dude. It's insane. Tell me some karaoke stories, dude. Tell me, now that you're out of the game in
but
Chicago, let's look back. Let's take a walk down memory lane of your time as a karaoke DJ in the mean streets of Rogers Park / Chicago.
Well, my favorite bar, and where I felt at home the most, honestly, my home away from home was Oasis. It's quite a fun place, but there was quite a bit of douchebaggery that happened occasionally. I had a guy who thought it was appropriate to rip the page out of the karaoke book and come up and point at the song that he wanted to sing.
Wow.
When he wanted to, I know, right?
Is that really what he did? He didn't have a paper? Like, didn't feel like writing it down?
Future conservative of America right there, buddy.
Jesus Christ. There is a lot of assholes out there, man.
There is.
Like, that's why I'm glad me and you met. Like, we've always had a very civil friendship. You've always been peaceful, and I really like that. But I've seen some people who just get so out of line. Especially at the Oasis and some other bars that we've ventured off to. But it's been crazy, man. It had to be fucking nuts for you, though.
Yeah, I've had some weird nights, that's for sure. I remember one particular night, super early in the evening, and some guys came in way too drunk for the time of night that it was. And they were the only people there very early. And there were 3 of them. And the one guy sang horribly, we all cheered him on. Other guy sang horribly, we all cheered him on. The third guy sang, and the drunkest of the drunkest. And then when he was done, we all cheered him on as well. He started dancing with his friends who didn't want him to dance with him, and then came up and started grinding on me. I thought, that's funny, dude. Pushed him away. Then he came back, started grinding on me again. So I turned him around and bent him over, slapped his butt, tried to push him on his way. Came up and rammed his butt into me, and I was going to kick him square in the butt, just jokingly, like, wah-pa. And I slipped and missed him square in the butt. Instead, I caught him square in the family jewels. Just
Jesus.
Pap.
Pap.
Yeah, and
he
got really angry.
I bet.
His friends thought it was hilarious, and took him home, I'm sure, to an ice pack.
Yeah. What's the craziest shit you've seen in a bar?
Oh, man.
Working or not?
Working or not. I saw somebody get shot up at over a broken bottle of Hennessy.
What?
Yeah. I was not while I was working karaoke. I don't want to disclose the bar because I don't want...
Yeah.
I don't want to give any bar that bad of a name, but outside of a bar, and there's a bus stop right in front of the bar.
Okay.
Me and some guys are on one side of the bus stop smoking cigarettes and cracking wise, and the bar is also a place where you can buy drinks to go.
Do I know this bar?
You might know this bar.
Fair.
But some people bought a beverage to go, apparently. We're walking out of the bar, walked on the other side of the bus stop, and we can't see them, but we hear a glass shatter. Then some punch, sound of an almost fight, and then a car pull up, tires screech, and pop, pop, pop.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, craziness, man, all over a broken bottle of Hennessy. But after everything had settled down, went and looked at the side, and it was like the cover of an album, man. It was just a broken bottle of Hennessy. You can see like that, and then some shells on the ground. It was real. It got incredibly real.
My God, man, you should put that to paper. Just a shattered bottle of Hennessy and some fucking shells.
Right.
No blood though. No one got hurt, right?
No blood. No one got hurt.
What was the aftermath of that? Something had to happen, because if it's the bar I'm thinking of, there's cops out all the time.
A cop showed up very soon thereafter. The doorman was quite a silly fellow and was using bar coasters. He like folded them in half and started putting them over the shells. So then another group of people saw him doing that, apparently friends with the person who shot the gun, and then just came over and knocked them off, knocked the shells out, picked up the shells, and ran away. So if he wouldn't have called attention to them, then maybe the police would have done something. Probably not. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I mean, you remember that scene in The Dark Knight where Batman tries to reconstruct the bullet just to find the finger?
Yeah,
right. Ever since I saw that, I was like, is it that easy?
Right.
Or is it that difficult?
But I don't know, man. The CPD to me is, if there's no bloodshed, they just don't want. They're not even going to bother with it. I can understand because of how busy they are out on the streets. I mean, I got hit by a car, and because it wasn't that bad of a hit, and skateboarding was clipped by a car. But the guy was an ass about it, so I called the cops anyway.
What happened, man?
Just basically time got wasted. I wasted the guy's evening. I had nothing to do. He had places to be. He hit me with a car and kept saying it was my fault that he hit me with his car.
Was he being a dick about it though? Like, I hate that when people assume that they're in the right. Like, you hit me with your car, man. I would fucking fold, dude. I would collapse. That could be the end of your fucking life.
I know, right?
That
If I
could
wouldn't
be
have,
the end of that dude's existence if you got even a slight cut to where you needed stitches. You would just go after his insurance company. He hit somebody with a car. That's insane.
and then tried to
be a dick about it.
Tried to be a dick
Get
about it, yeah.
fucked. Oh my god, man. When I was in high school, my first like oh shit car accident. Did you ever get in any car accidents?
had a couple of crazy ones.
Just like a fender bender or something, right? Have you ever been in a fender bender?
I've been in fender benders. I've been in some pretty bad car accidents too.
Yeah, same. But have you ever like rear-ended somebody with like a car?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I've done that. I've been rear-ended. I've rear-ended somebody.
Right. Those are small. Those are small time things. You know what I mean? So one time, I was driving home back to school. I went to my grandma's for lunch, and at my school, if you had enough credits and you were like a decent person, they would let you drive off campus after you were a junior and like you had your license basically.
Oh, yeah.
But if you got your license when you were a freshman, like no, you have to wait till you're a junior. Okay. So I leave campus, I go to my grandma's, have lunch, I'm like, all right, I gotta go. And I'm driving home, and there's a four-way intersection, it's like an uncontrolled intersection, right? And I'm driving, and I'm looking to my left, and my whole thing that I've always heard is you yield to the right-of-way, is what everyone always told me. I was like, okay, so what's that mean? And everyone was like, oh, you yield to the person to the right. And I was like, oh, okay. So, like, you would just assume that, like, if you're looking to your right and no one's, like, coming, you would technically be the one in the right because the person to your left is to your right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just a stupid thought that was just locked in my head as I'm coming up to this intersection. And all of a sudden, I look to my left just to be like, let me just make sure. And I was like, oh, nope. And I'm slamming on the brakes because here comes this van. And I was like, in theory, if I would have maybe hit the brakes like half a second earlier, I probably would have been all right. Like, it would just been like, ooh, that was all right. Just learn how to drive. You know what I mean? Driving back. And I ended up hitting this fucking dude. And, like, his van is totally fine. It's, like, complete steel. It's nothing. And my little fiberglass Pontiac, though, the fender got ripped back and the fucking hood got a dent. Like dented in, okay? And I fucking stop, and my light busts out, and I'm like, oh, shit. And the dude comes around, and he's like, looking at me, he's like, you cool? And I was like, I'm fine. And he's like, I was like, you? In my head, I'm like, just make sure he's like, all right, too, because I'm a decent person, making sure someone's all right. And he was like, I'm cool, don't worry about it. And I was like, all right. And he's like, you want to make something out of this? Like, are we calling? And he's like, my vehicle's fine. He's like, yours kind of fucked up. He's like, that's like what, like $800 in damage? And he's like, at most. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I have no idea like what I'm saying. I have no idea how much things for on cars cost. No idea. And I was like, yeah. He's like, dude, he's like, you're gonna need to get a new light regardless, but that's like $30. He's like, if you want, I'll call the cops. He's like, but you weren't in the right. And I was like, you yielded the right away. And he was like, I've never heard that. And I was like, okay, well, let me call my dad real quick. Cell phones are a thing, thank God. Because looking back at that moment, if cell phones weren't a thing, which is something that your adolescence was basically like, you didn't. How old were you when you got a cell phone?
How old was I when I got a cell phone? Let's see. I would have been 31 years old.
Are you serious? 31? Holy fuck!
I held out for a long time, man.
Did you?
I was 31 when I got a smartphone. I had like the little brick phone when I was living in Asheville, so that would have been
just a way to contact.
In my early 20s.
Yes. I got a phone when I was like 13, 14.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
It was almost to the same equivalent of like what you guys all had because it was, just there was no screens.
I had a beeper back then, man.
You had a beeper?
I hate admitting that I had a
God.
beeper. You want to hear like the most embarrassing line that I could ever say?
What's up?
I lost my beeper at a White Zombie concert.
This is great, man. I've always wanted to be able to use
90s thing.
I've always wanted to use VH1 as a tag for these podcasts, so I can finally do it.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, and there you go. Do you need more? You all right?
I'm set. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries. But that's amazing. Not to go too far off topic, though, right? So this guy's basically talking me into like just being like, I'm gonna go home and do some blow or something, man. Like this guy was kind of like not really tweaky, but he wanted to get out of there. So I call my dad up and I'm like, hey, got a fender bender. And he's like, fuck, are you, like, instead of being like, you're alright, he's like, how's the car? Like, we just got this car. And I was like, well, it's not great. And he's like, how's the person? And I was like, they're fine. And he's like, well, how's their vehicle? I was like, their vehicle is complete and utterly fine. Like, he's being very cool about it. He doesn't want to call the cops and, like, make it a thing. And I was like, how bad? Like, tell me what happened to the car. Like, tell me what happened. Tells him the story. And then my fender, I told him it was a fender bender, but literally the fender was just like pinched back and like bent, really like heavy, so you could see a missing part of the triangle, basically.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The hood was like popped up, and I was thinking that you just beat the shit out of it back into place. It's metal, you know. Just take it off, and we'll have the boys beat it with a fucking hammer until it pops back. Like, it'll be fine. And the light popped out, and he's like, all right, leave. And I was like, yeah? And he's like, just leave. And he's like, the guy's cool, and like, if you think it's alright, like, don't get a ticket, like, don't get a ticket.
Don't make your insurance go up.
Like, don't fuck with it. The guy was actually being pretty cool about it when you think about it, right? I get home and my dad was like, what the fuck? And apparently it just looked like a dragon like slashed the side of my fucking car. Like, it just looked like something took a big chunk out. And I was like, no, it didn't look that bad when I was explaining. This is what I explained. He's like, Tyler, this is an accident. And I was like, no, it's a fender bender. Look at the fender. It's bent back. It's just a fender bender. He's like, your fucking front end's gone, dude. Like, what the fuck? And I didn't think 2 fucking seconds of it. But yeah, that was my it could have gone really shitty and everyone was cool about it. Yeah. Damn, son. Never seen anyone get shot though.
Well, nobody got shot at. I mean, there wasn't any blood spill.
But it was over a 40.
No, it was over a bottle of Hennessy.
Bottle of Henny. What's that like? How much is a bottle of Henny?
I have never bought a bottle of Hennessy in my life. So.
I've done shots of Hennessy.
I've done shots of Hennessy.
Just because, and I don't like it, man. It doesn't sit right with me. It can really fuck me up. I don't need a bottle of, but that bottle over there is our last bottle in the Malort from our last night at the O.
Oh man, that was a fun night.
Mm-hmm. That was a fun night indeed. I had a blast.
I drank way too much that night.
You drank a lot that night.
I did, dude. I drank all the Malort.
You drank all the Malort. You did. That's why I got the bottle. Have you gotten to do a donkey punch yet? Chicago donkey punch?
No, I'm good on that, man.
Shut the fuck up. Are you serious, man?
I hate those hot hour
liquid meth.
things, man.
It's liquid meth. Oh, you just lost one of your Google eyes. Yeah, no worries. Them fucking cicadas are back, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about the cicadas a lot because they're like the only other person in the room besides Dave. He never says anything. It's pretty annoying.
No. I'm with the cicadas, man. I just want to climb up in this tree and scream.
Hey, let's talk travel for a second, all right?
Okay, yeah, totally.
So, after the last election, you started taking some trips.
Yeah,
and even kind of leading up to it.
Yeah, I've always wanted to live abroad, and with the current political climate, now is a better time than any. Kind of sickened by a lot of the things I see happening in my country, so I'm thinking about living abroad for a while.
Yeah.
I checked out a bunch of places. Checked out Mexico City.
What was popping in Mexico City?
It's beautiful. Culture is amazing. The food is delicious. The place is just absolutely gorgeous. Reminded me a lot of Chicago.
But the violence, man. Is that why?
The violence in Chicago. I mean, you hear that all the time. There's neighborhoods you don't go to in Chicago. There's neighborhoods you don't go to in Mexico City. Mexico City is huge, man. It's... per capita violence is what you really need to look at. And there's cities that are much worse than Chicago in the U.S. and places much worse than Mexico City in the world. It's all relative, man. And Mexico is a beautiful place, and its people are amazing. And when you focus on the violence and the bad stuff, you miss the beauty in a city. Same way with Chicago.
Best bar you visited in Mexico?
Oh, man, best bar. I didn't drink a lot in Mexico, man. I got wrapped up in all the museums and the art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't pin down a best bar in Mexico. Nothing was really outstanding in the bar section of Mexico.
How easy was it out there to get some kind of recreational vice?
It's pretty easy to get recreational vices there. The quality of green there is not the best.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff grown outdoors.
The grass isn't greener on the other side
It
of
is
Trump's wall.
not greener on the other side of Trump's wall.
Sorry,
That's
I
for
hate to
sure.
say it. It makes me puke too.
All right.
The times, dude.
No.
It's always weird. It's just weird to me that, like, it's almost like, and I hate to keep bringing up idiocracy with the times, if you will, but it seems every generation has their fights and their arguments and their stances that people have to take, and then it kind of just calms down for a minute. Like, there's bigger fish to fry, whether it be a war or it be a invasion or something, you know what I mean? Like, even the Olympics, everything just shuts up for a minute. You get what I mean? There's these weird, like, Christmas and holiday times, if nothing really goes fucking terrible, people are just, for some reason, in a fucking cheery spirit at the end of the year because they're about to start again. But, like, when you look at a calendar, like, that's the death. Like, that night you're about to die and be reborn. You get what I'm saying?
Another chance.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the next chance is going to be. What do you see in the future? What are you foreseeing? Because I mean, there's another reason too why, like, the times would have to get so bad to where you would actually be one of those people who nutted up or shutted up about moving out of a country for not completely agreeing with things that are happening, which I completely agree with. There's a lot of celebrities who said they'd do it, man, and maybe they did. Like, I don't know where fucking Samuel Jackson lives. You know what I mean? Like, he could be kicking it in Canada for all I know. I don't got trackers on these people. It's so funny, man. I always hear people say, like, that Hollywood celebrity fucking said he's moving out, so whatever, move. But, like, shit, how do you know they didn't?
Right.
I don't got mailing addresses on.
I mean, I would have lived abroad at some point in my life, no matter what. So
Right.
I think nationalism, whether it be for the U.S. or whatever country you're born in, national pride is pointless at best and dangerous mostly. It's a thin line between patriotism and jackboots. I don't know, man. It's terrifying, and that's any country. I hate to see where our country is going. It sickens me. When your attorney general has made jokes about liking the Ku Klux Klan until he found out they smoked pot. I mean, he said it was just a joke. That wasn't good fun. That's not fun to me. Not with the years of fucking oppression that a lot of people in our country have had to deal with. And
Right.
I don't know.
It's fucked up, man. It really is. I can't, like, it's tough to even fucking discuss, like, but it has to be talked about. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many fucking, it's all riddles now. There's so many puzzles and shit that you have to fucking figure out just to see where you really stand. But there's plenty of opportunities where, like, you know where you're standing from the get. You know what I mean? Like, I understand certain, like, really specific dialed in problems with, like, bills and legislation, but like, there's an overall objective to being a human. It's not all just ink and paper. Like, you have to let some people take care of each other. Like, this whole Kavanaugh thing, like, oh my god, dude. Like, this is fucking nuts. It's fucking chaos these days, man. Like, shit, you went to Mexico and you were like, if it wasn't for smog.
Yeah, if it wasn't for smog,
like,
I would be living in Mexico City right now. That was the one thing that killed me in
living
Mexico
like
City.
a doctor, too. How was the pricing out there?
Incredibly affordable. Like, ridiculously.
Can you give the folks listening just a quick run of the places you visited before you decided to land on Amsterdam? Or, I'm sorry, Berlin.
Sorry, Berlin.
Sorry.
Maybe.
So you started, you left Chicago, you went to Mexico City. Where else did you go?
Yeah, I went to Mexico City. I checked that out. It was perfect except for the smog. We left Mexico City, and then we traveled around Scandinavia a bit. beautiful, gorgeous, perfect economy, perfect political systems. Everybody took care of one another. They had their problems. Every country has their problems. And this is, I'm lumping all of Scandinavia into one big pot. I shouldn't do that, but like I said, fuck nationalism. In Scandinavia, it's too expensive. It is prohibitively expensive unless you were born there and living there.
How so?
Most of the EU is prohibitively expensive because, for the most part, you have to prove that you are better qualified for the job that you want than anyone in the EU, not just the country you're moving to.
Really?
Yeah, and that's really tough for employers, not only employees, but if an employer wanted to hire you,
right,
they would have to prove that you're so outstanding in your field that all these people in the EU had to be passed over. And there's certain ways around that. Artist visas, because art is valued in a different way than like manual labor and things of that nature. A lot of countries have artist visas that you can get for up to 6 months. And then certain cities have certain sub-clauses in those artist visas, and Berlin and Hamburg have one. And it's the spouse of anybody who gets an artist visa can get a job in any field they desire.
Huh. But it's only good for 6 months. Do you just keep renewing it, or what?
Renew it every 6 months. Yeah.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. Huh. And so we're in January. Going to give it a shot in Berlin is the current idea that we're having. We've talked to somebody who helps with visas and such, and we're back in Chicago for the time being in some documentation.
Yeah.
Because Germans do love their bureaucracy.
Oh, I bet.
And their paperwork.
I bet. Gotta make sure everything is on the dotted line.
You gotta make sure those umlauts are dotted.
Jesus. Alright, so where else did you go, man?
We also went to Hungary. That was more of the Budapest. That was more of a dental holiday. We checked it out.
What do you mean dental holiday?
Being independent contractors, me being a karaoke DJ that works for himself, sole proprietor.
Right.
I've never had, and before that, waited tables most of my life, worked in kitchens. I've never had health insurance since I was 18.
Huh.
And and my main way that I handle that is put back a little bit of money, not as much as you would for health insurance, but a little bit of money each month, and eventually you'll save up enough money to take yourself on a dental or medical holiday.
Huh.
Yeah, and Budapest, the dental care is much less expensive. So for the price that me and my wife would have paid to get dental work done in the United States, we could instead stay an entire month in Budapest.
You stayed a month in Budapest. I forgot, yeah.
We got our dental work done and had a nice vacation. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And we probably saved still about $25,000 as opposed to getting it done.
Did you get anything taken care of out in Mexico City then?
Mexico City,
anything?
I did not. We could have, when we went, the reason why we went to Budapest, you can also do this same thing. Everybody who's listening in the U.S., you can do the same thing in Mexico. You can take your dental holiday in Mexico City, much less expensive.
Yeah.
Much better quality work as well. Another thing about having capitalism in the healthcare business is, say you become a dentist at the tender age of 23, and you keep your practice up until you're 70. That same x-ray machine you got when you were 23, if the government's not regulating your office, then you also miss out on things like the government every year saying, hey, get a new x-ray machine.
Yeah.
The amount of radiation used in the United States compared to Budapest and Mexico is ridiculous.
No shit.
Yeah. The rest of the world looks at our dental system as barbaric. If you don't believe me, get on the internet, kids. Everybody else thinks we don't know what we're doing with our teeth, and they're pretty much right.
No shit.
Yeah. So go to Budapest, go to Mexico, get your root canals, save some money. Have a nice vacation.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, but you also owned your house at the time.
It's
right?
true.
Because some people, like, you need that month to have something lined up. You know what I mean, for the next month.
That's true.
Yeah.
Everyone's circumstances are different, but if you can save enough money, if you're saving enough money to go on a vacation anyway,
right,
and you don't have insurance, then
yeah,
why not?
Why not? Yeah, indeed. And if you don't really like, what's the best? Well, I guess that's.
And it was still cheaper for us even after it was passed where you have to pay a penalty. It was still cheaper for us to pay the penalty and then save the amount of money that we needed to take care of our stuff abroad.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Not really. It means our healthcare system is really flawed.
Right, no, but it's awesome that you found some way to get it all taken care of. And, like, you moved on. And then you got to go check out the next place. It sucks that it sucks that the current political climate is what definitely did play a major factor in the whole of, like, maybe we should finally go chase that. You know what I'm saying? But was it kind of inevitable though? Were you thinking about it? Because you said you always wanted to go. So
we always wanted to go.
Kind of like a now or never.
Not really, man. It was when George W. Bush got into office. The not
dad.
Senior, but junior.
Oh,
when he got his second term, we were like, we're going abroad. But it was half-hearted, and we both kind of knew it was half-hearted. Yeah, man, it's a tough situation.
Indeed, we don't need to jump too deep into that because I just wanted to talk more about the going around and the abroad stuff. Sorry that I keep circling back to it.
Oh, no problem. Another place we checked out Amsterdam. We had a lot of the easiest airports to get to mainland Europe is landing in Amsterdam. So Amsterdam and England. So we've spent time in both of those places. And we thought we were going to move to Amsterdam and take advantage of the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty.
What's that?
It's a treaty that allows American citizens to get a visa much easier than if they were not an American citizen. It makes it very easy to move to the Netherlands as an American citizen.
Huh.
You have to put $4,500 into a Dutch bank, start a business, and work in that field.
Well, it doesn't seem that difficult at all.
I know, right?
Yeah. So what slipped you up then?
The thing that slipped us up there is every time we had visited Amsterdam, it was in the complete non-busy season, the complete shoulder season. And it was not that crowded. The prices didn't seem that expensive. They seemed a little expensive at the time. But we get there in the middle of tourist season, and it's not even the height of the season. It's the end of tourist season, but it's insane. It was wall-to-wall people in a town that was not built for that many people, and it caused the locals to really have a distaste for tourists, which is totally understandable. So I felt more aggression there than I had anywhere else, as I felt more like a foreigner there than I had anywhere else. The art's beautiful. The buildings are beautiful. It's a gorgeous place to visit. It's a great place to spend like 48 hours.
Yeah.
Especially on the off season. But we both realized we could not live there. And we love the outside of Amsterdam as well, like cities like Arnhem and things like that. I would live in Arnhem in a heartbeat, and that's not up near the busy city of Amsterdam, but very far away and near the German border.
So, like, how many miles or kilometers?
I'm not even sure. I want to say it was...
Because of Pokemon Go, we know how to use kilometers. Motherfucker.
I'm not sure about kilometers, but I think the train ride, I want to say it was 2 hours, maybe.
It's like 100 miles.
Maybe more. I don't know.
Roughly,
but I'm pretty sure it was more. But yeah, it was a beautiful city, really awesome, not crowded. But the problem with it is the first year or two while you're moving to the Netherlands, you're going to be needing to go to Amsterdam all the time because all the stuff you need to do all the lawyers you need to see, all the paperwork you need to fill out, all the court dates that you have to go to are going to be in Amsterdam. And you couldn't be like, I think it was like 2 to 4 hours outside. It was pretty far away. It was nothing you would want to be like on the spur of the moment.
Right.
We need you here today at 1 o'clock. It's you know,
so there's a little bit more of a difficulty to it too.
So going through and doing the DAFT, you're going to need to stay near Amsterdam, and Amsterdam's just way too crowded, way too expensive. Yeah.
And then, what, 2 or 5 hours before you were about to leave for Amsterdam, you get a call, and now Berlin's on the table.
Now Berlin's on the table. That's where we're going in January. So a friend of my wife's said that we should check out Berlin while we're in Europe. And we're like, oh, maybe we will. And then after being in Amsterdam for a little while, we're like, yes, we have to check out somewhere other than this. We cannot live here.
Yeah. Now, do you think, though, like, if you guys stayed in Amsterdam for, like, enough time to be regulars and, like, to be accepted in, that would happen? Like, the people who own and work in the establishments may see you more?
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would.
Like,
I'm sure it would be that way.
Calm down? Like, isn't that going to be that way? Like, you can move to Boston and not have a Boston accent.
I know, right? But
like,
more...
the fuck out of Boston or whatever.
More than feeling like a foreigner, what scares me more than that is actually becoming one of the locals who hates the tourists like I was.
Well, welcome. We live in Chicago. Go downtown when it's fucking a Cubs game and have to take the train. Like, trust me.
Okay, I know. Now
like,
take that little area.
Like, fuck.
Take that little area and multiply it by like
place.
4 neighborhoods in Chicago, and that's the only place you can go.
Really? That's the size of Amsterdam? How big is Amsterdam?
No, it's much bigger than that. It's not huge though. It's not a
Chicago's like 26 miles.
Hold on, let's see. We have an internet.
Yeah, we have an internet. Oh, you know what? Check it out, dude. I'm gonna bug my house.
Oh snap! Now I know at least. I'll stop talking about running guns to Cuba.
Cuba. Here she is.
Oh, what have you got there, sir? Oh, we're building tension. He's getting something. Oh, you got an echo. Those things are fun, man. I bugged my house a long time ago. It's a blast.
I'm real nervous. We had it going for a while, and then I just stopped and thought about it. And she's been in the box ever since. I'm scared that I'm going to open it and plug it in, and she's going to be like, that took a while. I'm going to re-update my GPS real quick, make sure we're locked into you.
So the area of Amsterdam is 84.68 square miles. And let's see the size of Chicago. Just in comparison, for all of you people who know the size of Chicago, and for the people who don't, get on it. The area of Chicago is 234
square miles.
The population of both places, the population of Amsterdam really doesn't matter because tourist season it gets ridiculous. Population. We've got the internet. Why not? Population of Amsterdam during tourist season.
Shout out to Google for this kick-ass phone we're using. Jay's got Pixel 2, right?
No, it's just the old Pixel XL, but I do have Project Fi as well. Google owns me pretty much.
How is that abroad?
It's
going to different places.
It's great abroad, but cell phones in the United States are ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah.
Plans in Europe are like 30 euros a month, and that's it for unlimited, no throttling, having a great phone service that works everywhere. Whereas that translates to $50 a month here. And I can't remember the last time I paid that much. And that's just
are the phones the same? Are they getting our old, is it older models?
It's a global economy. It's not older models. Everything's, there's certain things you can only get in certain countries. Like China has some phones that we'll never see. India has some phones we'll never see. The Netherlands pulls in 14 million tourists during their tourist seasons.
How much does Chicago rank in?
Let's see.
Chicago, 14 million for tourists from Amsterdam.
And that's a city of a much smaller size.
Let's also talk about what you're getting in Amsterdam. Tell me about the motherland, Jay.
The motherland.
No, you can, like, I'll even look that up if you want.
Oh no, Chicago, it was 50 million.
50
Which,
million?
yeah, I mean, it's
Not bad.
bigger city, but I'm not sure somebody out there will do the math and be like, it's easy.
Yeah, it's like an elephant in everybody's bathroom.
Or
Just
not.
the amount of,
See,
I don't know.
it may just be an otter. Somebody will figure it. Somebody will do the math out there.
Bathroom,
Get
that's what
on
we're
it.
saying, folks. Do the math.
Get on it.
Check your bathrooms. Yeah, so what was the nightlife like out there?
Oh, the nightlife.
So you don't get stabbed or shot?
No, I had people. The first time I was in Amsterdam, I was at the best bar in the world, Tales and Spirits.
Okay.
It is the best bar in any of the countries that I've been to so far. I was outside of there smoking a cigarette, and somebody was trying to sell me pills or blah. I was like, no, I'm good, man. I just smoke weed. I'm going to go to the coffee shop later. Coffee shops are fun. Smart shops are a blast.
What are smart shops?
Well, I'll explain a coffee shop first, because some
Okay.
of those people may not know what a coffee shop is out there in internet land. In Amsterdam, if you want to get a coffee, and not be around people smoking marijuana, you go to a cafe, because coffee shops also sell marijuana. And you walk into a coffee shop, you're going to walk into a haze of marijuana and walk up and buy either flower or joints or edibles or what have you.
What's the prices like out there?
About the same as here.
Yeah.
Honestly, about the same as here. It's always about the same everywhere I go so far. I haven't ran into places where it's been,
Just a global agreement.
yeah, it seems like it's more globally regulated probably than gold at this point.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, if you ever feel like, hey, it sounds like this place is ripping me off, then try a second place. That's my go-to for if you're abroad
Right.
and you're buying anything that you normally buy. Try a second place. But smart shops. So yeah, you have cafes where you can get coffee. Coffee shops where you can get marijuana. Smart shops sell hallucinogens.
Oh, Jesus.
Right. Psilocybin, they sell different types of mushrooms, mushroom truffles, also called hallucinogenic truffles, also called philosopher's stone. So yeah,
I'm aware.
those are quite fun. If you get a chance, check them out.
It's a lot, man. People just walking around, just gonered. 'Cause, I see that in Chicago all the time.
Yeah, they're mostly. You run into a lot of bachelor parties, people just wasted.
Yeah.
And there's also people that, hold their own and are just normal, average, everyday people that are out having a smoke,
Yeah.
having a fun trip across the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Have you ever ran into anyone out and about?
Ran into anyone?
I don't know, just like of status.
Oh,
Like, I'm
anyone
sure you've met a
important?
lot of people. Like, who do you think is one of the most interesting people that you sat back and just kind of smoked with, or just like you met at a shop or something? Like, you went to a bunch of places, even if it wasn't in Amsterdam. Just like if you ever were out to dinner and you were just talking to someone up at the bar,
Man, that's a tough call. I don't know.
or like
You're
just a
springing
couple
the-
examples if you remember
springing
anybody,
the-
or were you pretty much secluded and just like off in your own world?
I definitely chat people up wherever we go.
I'd assume your personality would be the same.
Yeah, my personality is the same everywhere. I think I'm so non-judge. I don't want to get. I hate this question, Tyler.
I can
I like this. No, that's
I don't
okay.
have to ask you the
That's
question,
okay.
man.
I'm going
You
to
don't have to
sound.
answer
I'm
it.
going to sound incredibly snooty here and say I would like to think that I'm so non-judgmental that people don't stand out to me. That people are people.
Oh no! I don't mean like who was the biggest weirdo. My question is just like you know how people have personalities or like cool
That's true.
professions or this and that. Like when we were on the cruise I was on, right? I met this dude who told me that he snuck a bunch of weed on this cruise because he put it, or his wife took a tampon and took 2 tampons, filled it hot glued it together, and she wore it from New York all the way to like we were in Puerto Rico when he told me, I think. And I was like, you got weed over here? Because you can smell it, like it's the boat. And he's like, yeah, orale vato, come on. And I was like, oh, I don't know, man. And like we were sitting there fucking like just bullshitting for a minute, and I was like, I'm cool, I'll be alright. Like, I don't know, just because like this guy reeked, like, and there was a family boat, like there was like kids running around. He's like, we're in the middle of the ocean, international waters, and I was like, I don't know if that's true. Like, I don't know exactly where we're at, but yeah, I don't know if that's true. We just left Puerto Rico. I'm sure that's a territory, right? Or it's part of us.
No,
you know,
man.
they just had this was right before the hurricane.
Oh man.
Yeah, that sucked. Obviously, it's a bad way to put it, but. Once again, we don't need to talk about it. It's just like, I'm going to change this podcast name to like, we just don't need to talk about it. It's the whole theme of this one.
Oh, man. What's happening in our country? That's what we need to change this podcast name to.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there's like, you can't even like sit around and bullshit anymore because like, you don't want to say something to spark a conversation that's just like, you burn out of. You know what I mean? You don't want to burn people out. But that's why I was asking, like, who's some cool people you met out there, man? Yeah, there had to be
people that I've met out there.
Flight attendant? Like, give me something. Shit. You've been out in the world a lot.
Cool people that people are people, man.
More interesting than others, or just
okay,
one person?
Trip.
people tell me a person.
A trip that I took that was not looking for a place to go. It was just actually a vacation. I went to Dominican Republic, and a guy who stood out to me very well was our tour guide that we had on a tour that we took of the island and the city. And as this guy went through, he did his tour in Spanish, English, and German. And he got laughs from all three. It wasn't like one group of people was like, I don't quite get what he's saying. This guy was on point.
Yeah.
And we did our whole tour, and we were one of the first people to get picked up, so we're also one of the last ones to get dropped off. And during this tour, they gave us all just like plied us with as much rum as possible. They were just pouring us rum the whole time. So we'd pull up and be like, over here on your right, we have this building's a blah, 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 blah in English, and then it would be in Spanish, and then it would be in German, and be like, and anybody feel like some rum? And then it would be like another 5 to 10 minutes, and anybody feel like some rum? So by the end of it, I'm keeping up pretty well, and but by the end of it, they drop off. It's the drop off right before our hotel, and this station wagon pulls up, and modern station wagon. This guy gets out and just looks exhausted. Family gets out. Station wagon taxi, and the guy gets out the back and just looks dead because his family's been bothering him so long. And I've got some of this free rum, just a plastic cup filled with rum. He looks beat, and I'm like, hey, and I reach out and I pass it to him. He gets it, he looks at it, and he looks up at me and smiles so big. We drive off, and me and my wife and the tour guides, our only person there, they have a big laugh, and he's like, man, if you did move here, you'd be like a local in no time. And I remember that guy very well. He was one of the people that really stood out to me. So there you go.
That's awesome, dude. Tour guide's great. You also I think have gone to more museums than anyone I've met.
I do love museums.
Your wife's probably equally tied for that honor.
Yeah, we probably, yeah.
What's one of those craziest facts that you've learned while you were out and about? Like, I'm sure you went to some pretty interesting places. Like, did you go to a Banksy museum at some point?
Yeah, man, Amsterdam.
Some fun little side quests you had in your journey.
The biggest museum that we went to was in Mexico City. It was the Soumaya. It was gigantic. It has Rodin's The Thinker.
Yeah.
And it has also on the very top floor, after like 13 or 14 floors of art, there's just this gigantic room filled of Rodin statues. Soumaya is amazing. The Fram Museum is amazing if you get a chance and you're in Oslo, Norway. Fram is a ship that did both a Arctic and Antarctic expedition.
Yeah, what's going on there? Like, do they actually still did it sink or? Is it
no, it did not. They The museum is the Fram. They
Oh shit.
rebuilt it inside of the building, and you can just walk around inside the Fram.
Huh.
Yeah. Oslo has the best museums of anywhere. So right beside the Fram Museum is the Kon-Tiki Museum. Do you know what the Kon-Tiki is?
No.
There's this theory
Okay.
that man could have traveled from Africa to the Americas.
Is this across the Alaskan?
That would be the Atlantic Ocean
Oh.
via very rudimentary travels. And this one guy, to prove that it could be done, built a very rudimentary ship that could have been made out of materials that was available in northern Africa at the time, and sailed it across the Atlantic. And it was the Kon-Tiki.
Oh.
And yeah, he actually
Mixed
built
up
a second one
motions.
too. That's okay, don't spit it. There's a few of them.
Happens, man. Get to that hour mark. Well, that's cool as shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Any fun street fests or any cool like national day of celebrations did you get to go across?
Oh, man, things will catch you by surprise. That's a culture shock that you will get. You'll be in a country and it'll be a Wednesday, and you'll be like, all right, today we're going to go out, we're going to buy groceries, we're going to wash our clothes, we're going to go and take care of this appointment that we need to do something. You plan out your day, and then it'll be like, it's National John the Barber's Day, and everything will be closed, and a parade will go down the middle of the street, and everybody else will know that this happens every year, but that's
That's
one
what I'm
thing
saying.
that-
Yeah. Where'd that happen at?
It's happened numerous times. The last
shit.
time that happened was in Berlin.
Okay.
So we're in Berlin, and we're walking around. We're going through Alexanderplatz, which is this big center in Berlin.
What was it called again?
Alexanderplatz.
Alexanderplatz. Gotcha.
And suddenly, in the distance, we're boom, we're like, oh, there's a live show, like a DJ set going on up here. We get closer, and there's a parade. But instead of like a normal parade, it's a bunch of people dancing to rave music. And there's a truck blasting rave music. We're like, that's cool. And then right as that truck's getting out of hearing range, it's like, you hear, and you see a bunch more people dancing, and another truck blasting rave music. And you realize that there's lines of these trucks and people dancing to rave music. So we...
Is this where old boy from like that YouTube video came out of?
The Viking?
The Viking?
Yeah, the
disco Viking or something?
techno Viking?
Techno,
that is
disco
exactly.
Viking
And it's
something?
called the Hate Parade.
The Hate Parade, yes.
It's called, I think they also call it the Fuck or the Fuck You Parade.
For those of you listening, if you've never seen this video, you got to check it out. There's this guy. Look up Viking rave
Or
Viking,
Techno Viking or Raver Viking.
It's this giant fucking just brooding dude. This dude's fucking huge. He looks like Gaston in a sense, but he's got this long ass Nordic Viking weaved dreads, and he's going nuts on it. It's amazing. He like downs a Red Bull in like a second, like slams it on the ground and just starts walking.
Yeah, so we walked through. That happened. That
Dude,
was
that blew
that
my
was just.
mind the first time I saw that.
We're
video.
just hanging out. We're going about our business, and suddenly the Hate Parade's there.
The Hate
And
Parade came through.
we run through the Hate Parade and get to the other side of the street where we need to go because there's ravers and techno music between us and the place that we're going. And we get to this restaurant, and we're there. We're like, what the hell is going on out here? The lady's like, oh, it's the Hate Parade.
Just like that.
Just like, yeah, it happens every year. And we're like, no, wait, we need more context. What is the Hate Parade? And she's like, oh, the Hate Parade is a response to the Love Parade. We're like, again, we need...
It's a response to the Love Parade.
So apparently Berlin had this thing called the Love Parade for a long time, and it became incredibly commercialized. It became like Pepsi presents Adidas's Love Parade. Like, it became incredibly commercialized. Where in America, when that happens, we're like,
like Macy's
it's
or
a Tuesday. the Germans, the Berliners, they got pissed as fuck and came up with this alternate parade called the Hate Parade to protest the commercialism.
Jesus.
Whereas in America, we're excited when the McRib comes back.
Very true, man.
We need a McRib parade. That's all I'm saying.
McRib Parade.
Yeah. with Szechuan sauce for everyone.
Oh, Szechuan sauce. I never had the sauce, man.
I didn't either, man.
I have a Rick and Morty tattoo, but I do not have the sauce. I love the characters in that show, man. I really do. At first, I thought the show was just going to be another fucking show, and I'm so glad that they are at least taking their time with it, and that they're treating it right. I feel like, at least, because here's the thing: I just saw a video which was an ad for the new season of South Park. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I didn't watch South Park when it first came out, but when South Park came out, did Jay watch South Park?
Oh, man. Yeah, I watched South Park.
Was that your shit or what, man?
It was pretty great. I still enjoy it. I love some of their early stuff, too, man. Like their college music, their college project, Cannibal the Musical.
Absolutely, man.
Fun.
I always wish there was more karaoke's for that.
Right.
I love the song "When I Was on Top of You" about his horse.
Right.
Or song.
Are the only "Let's Build a Snowman." I mean, Frozen can go to hell. Let's build a snowman.
We can make him our best friend.
Yeah.
We can name him Bob, or we can name him Beowulf,
We can make him tall.
or we can make him not so tall. Snowman. Yeah, that was a great fucking musical, man. That's why it didn't blow my mind at all when Book of Mormon came around. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, like it's fucking
It's
genius."
revolutionary.
I was like, yeah,
It's like, of course it is. You should have gotten on this long ago.
Yeah, you should see what they made back when.
They did that through Troma, right?
What's up?
They did that through Troma. They got funding through Troma, right?
I believe so. I'm not 100%. I have a VHS copy around here somewhere.
Oh, man, we got to break out the VHS.
Wife hates it, man. She's like, get rid of all of these VHSs. Like, why don't you just like write a list and go on YouTube and see if they exist on YouTube? Like, because some of them are stupid, dude. Like I keep around shit I'm never gonna watch. Like, I think I still have a cassette for Adam Sandler's best of fucking SNL, and I'm like, nope, because I can't get rid of it. I don't know why. It's like the worst one.
That is the box of cables that you move with. That's like, I don't need this old Nintendo controller cable extender.
But I might get a Nintendo
one day.
This shit comes around, man. Like, if I would have kept all these old fucking see, I never had like older systems. I never had everything I got was immediately passed down. Okay, because I'm the oldest of 4. If you have to use this to poke a hole in the bottom of it, just to like,
I got a good hit.
all right, cool. I don't have a screen. As I was saying, though, everything I got was immediately handed off. Are you the same with that? Like, or do you have siblings?
I don't have any siblings. I'm an only child. My mother was tiny, and I was born like nearly 2 feet tall and 10 pounds.
Well, it's 420, so we might.
Oh, snap. Happy 420, everybody.
420, everybody.
And if you don't celebrate 420, get on it. But I'm an only child. We were between lower to upper middle class. I lived all over the place in the middle class economy. So I occasionally had new systems. I occasionally had to wait a few years and buy secondhand. But my very first video game system was a ColecoVision, and it didn't have any cartridges that you could put in. There was never any hope of buying any new games, but it had a little switch on it.
Yeah.
And you could play tennis or Pong. And the only difference between the two games was Pong, you could only move vertically. But wait for it. Tennis, you could also move horizontally.
Holy shit.
There was no diagonal. That was yet... The technology of diagonal lines had yet to be invented in the video game world.
How much longer until dinosaurs were extinct?
About 2 weeks.
Jesus.
I'm old.
You were right on the cusp.
So
You were right on the
old.
cusp.
I used to have to... did you know here, I'll ask. Did you know the difference between UHF and VHF?
UHF and VHF?
Yeah.
No.
People my age, there were 4 channels that you could watch on regular TV VHF. TVs had 2 knobs. If you ever
Okay.
watch any old movies, you'll notice that TV sets had 2 knobs.
I always thought that was channel and volume.
Nope. One of them was VHF and the other one was UHF. So on the top knob, you had a U, and then you had like 1 through, I want to say it was 20, 15, maybe it was only 10. It's hard to remember, I was so young. But yeah, there were those sets of channels, and that's why like the major channels, ABC, CBS, NBC, are all low numbers, like 4, 9, 7, 13.
Because they've been there forever.
Because they were on the UHF, and they came in very clear. Those channels all had a frequency that came into your television and made them look better than the UHF channels. But if there was one letter, instead of a 0, there was a U, and you turned it to the U, then you moved to the second dial. And you started moving around on the U, and that was the UHF. And people didn't watch UFH channels as much. That's the reason why the UHF movie by Weird Al, it was a channel like people didn't watch as much.
So was it easier to get content on there then? Like,
it was cheaper and weirder shit and low budget shit. But one person saw a sneaky way to challenge the big three, NBC, CBS, and ABC. And that was to buy up UHF channels across the nation. And then try this new experimental show. It's a little vulgar, it's a little out there, called Married with Children. And that's how Fox was born, man. And Fox, started buying up the cheap UHF channels and playing things that people wanted to see that was a little vulgar, a little out there. And and then became this fake media outlet that's mostly entertainment and a mouthpiece for the president.
It's fucking weird. It's so fucking weird.
Right?
It's I saw this video I posted earlier today. Did you see the picture of Anderson Cooper and the water?
Yeah.
Did you see the video though? His response to it? The picture where it looks like somebody's like standing on a grate or something was actually from Hurricane Ike in 2013, and he was actually like, he plays the video like his response was fucking professional, dude.
Nice.
It was so professional, and he was explaining it. Basically, they were on a spot where the roads were fine, like some of the roads were becoming okay, but you could see on this pole where the water was like a few hours prior, and now we're able to come out here. Like now we can be out here, okay? Mm-hmm. Floodwaters are subsiding, but even in like 30 feet, like watch me walk like 30 feet off the road for a second, it's like all just lowlands. And there's another woman from the town who is standing in the water with him at the same height, and she's like, yep, so this is what happens. It's two valleys, and like thankfully our highway's built up a little bit more so we can come out and rescue them. But if we didn't have this kind of precaution ready, like we'd be in big trouble, because like you see where we're at. And he's like, yep, that's crazy. And he is even he stops and goes back to talking to himself, and he's like, well, here's the deal, like everyone who like had a problem with this picture or like went through with it, the first person to make comment of it was Donald Trump's son, Donnie Jr., and he's like, and this is what he posted, and like he just goes and explains the next part to where they weren't going to stand in the road, because if they did, the evac vehicles were going through, like they're just, why would we dance in the road? So like you guys keep the equipment at like a height where you're okay, and like I'll walk out there, like I'll see how deep it is. Oh wow, it's like stomach deep. But if you see on the pole, you know what I mean, like it's just fucking insane how like one fucking image that just somebody put a thought to, just threw out into the hive mind, and the hive either said like, well, is this true, like,
or is it not?
Because here's the thing.
See, the thing is,
the problem is the broadcast never fucking happened. But the people who already don't trust the anchor and the newsroom fucking were like, fuck it, dude, just grab something and throw it out there. Like they're all like, fuck that guy. It's insane, man.
You need to
insane.
You need to actually, like, if you see something and you have an emotion about it or a feeling about it, or if you want to comment on it even, I mean, see if it's real.
Right.
Spend the time to invest in it instead of just propagating bullshit.
Yeah, and you know what? I've totally jumped the gun on that before. Though.
I have too. We're all guilty of it. I have to
delete it
of course.
Once I find out, you delete it and it's gone. It scrapes away. But like, yeah, man.
There's so much of it, man. There's...
it's crazy.
I never thought... I mean, the internet was like a wild dream when I was...
MySpace was so much cooler. Agree or disagree?
Oh man.
AOL Instant Chat, like what was? Yeah. Picking up the phone. I wish I could fucking find someone with dial-up and just pick up their house phone and use that for a track, like a music track, and use that as some kind of cool intro.
Do you know dial-up still exists?
Yeah, that's
My
the thing.
parents
I just don't
actually-
know anyone who has it. Your parents?
My parents use dial-up.
But they
I
still
don't
have a
know if they
house phone?
still do. No, they don't have a house phone.
You can't make the sound without a house phone.
No. You can't make the sound at all anymore, I don't think. Maybe there's a way.
Really? Yeah, I want to find
there's a way.
it.
Let's
Somewhere on
find
this
it,
planet we can do it. Jay and Tyler go
Oh,
to North
man.
Korea.
Right? Oh, that's a buddy film.
Jesus Christ. That'd be nuts. So, sorry if you guys are hearing like what sounds like a fight club next door. There's some workers renovating one of the units in my building. And they get the job done, but they also like throw a cage match or something. It's insane.
That's true.
So, Chicago for a couple more days.
Yeah, man, I'm here for a few more. I gotta get gonna eat at some more of my favorite restaurants, see some more of my favorite people.
What's the one good food you can't find in Berlin?
There's too many to count, sir.
What's the lamest excuse for a food that in Chicago would be delicious? Have you found out on the road? Where was it? I don't care if it's on your way to the Carolinas. I don't care if it's on your way to Europe or to Mexico. Like, what was the worst imitation you found? And do not say Lunchables pizza.
No, man, the worst imitation is no one in Europe knows what a nacho is.
A nacho.
It's true.
It's simple.
I know, right? But apparently not. When you come from a country that never had corn and then still doesn't understand masa and making tortilla chips, and also have basically every time I order nachos in Europe, I know they're going to be horrible, but I can't stop myself from it to see what type of train wreck it could become. Because they know that there's going to be something crunchy, and they know that there needs to be cheese. Other than that, they have no idea. So every time we see nachos on the appetizer, I look at Liz and I go, imagine nachos. The reason why is because whoever makes those nachos have just had to imagine what a nacho should be.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Get ready for some horror stories. So there's no tortilla chips. You normally get Doritos. Not actual Doritos, not like good quality Doritos. You get like some off-brand that also has a salsa flavoring on it.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
imagine that. And then whatever cheese. I've had feta. I've had stinky Gouda. I've had like runny white cheese that had no idea what it was.
It just didn't
Random
taste like
meats.
cheese.
Random meats. Just pick a meat.
Just pick a
Right.
meat.
Imagine nachos. Imagine nachos.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. This podcast is brought to you in part by Yuck. Yuck.
Right?
Ugh, yuck.
I should start documenting how bad nachos can be in Europe. It's terrifying.
Make an Instagram page, man. That guy did it with Magikarps.
I think-
each day.
I think I had cucumbers in one once.
Are you serious? You had cucumbers?
Probably not.
It's a goddamn shame.
But yeah, most food in Berlin, the thing that's going to be really tough is the German food is amazing.
Yeah.
You can find some great burger places. I'm going to give a shout out to a place that does Amsterdam style burgers better than any restaurant I had in Amsterdam. Rembrandt Burger in Berlin is amazing. You can find some incredible burgers in all of Europe. In Berlin, though, you get good German food, some good burgers, and then weird imitations of other food.
Yeah.
Indian food. I've never seen duck as a dish in any Indian restaurant anywhere in the world except for Berlin. And in Berlin, it's like duck vindaloo, duck curry. Yeah, it's like a signature dish in Berlin, I think.
It's all about that duck.
I know, right? All about that ant. That's how you say duck in
Ent.
Dutch. Yeah.
Ent. E-N-T.
E-N-T-E, I think, but I think the E is silent. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I could look it up, but I'm lazy.
Were you going around asking for Ent and you don't even know if Ent
I
meant?
know, right? didn't know what int meant.
You just kept reading that word and you figured it was duck.
Okay, I'm going to the internet.
Turns out it's fucking koala bear.
I've been eating koala for the last 2 months. Oh, it's so delicious. Oh, speaking of... Oh, see, I was right. E-N-T-E. Ah.
Ente.
I think the E is silent, though, so I think it's just int. I could be wrong. I could have been...
Hit the speech.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Oh, wait. I'm old. I don't understand the internet.
See, that's what I'm saying, man.
I know, right?
That's why I think MySpace was the coolest.
Enter.
Ah, it is Enta.
Enta. Right,
I've been eating koala bear. I don't feel slightly bad. It was delicious.
Jay, we're going to wrap it up real quick because we are now at the hour 20 mark. And we have places to go and people to see.
I've got koala to eat.
You got koala to eat. Hopefully we can sit back down one more time before you take off. Real quick, man, what is your travel tip for anyone out there listening? What's your ultimate travel tip, or if you got one or two of them?
My ultimate travel tip is don't have children. Yeah. But other than that, Airbnb. Always look for flights on a Tuesday. Google Flights is awesome, but if you can't find what you're looking for, always do a secondary search just in case.
Yeah.
I don't know. Travel is my biggest travel tip. Go out there and see that people are the same everywhere. And it'll make you understand why walls and nationality are fucking ridiculous. And it makes you love everybody a little bit more.
Dig it, man. Dig it. All right, everybody. You guys have a good one. Like I said, hopefully we can get Jay back in one more time before he rolls, just so I can have one more combo for him. But if not, we can do Skype. We'll try that out. Get a hold of you when you're out in Berlin.
Cool.
See what life is like and how it's going for you as you adjust. Thanks for taking the time out with me. Next time we can talk about we'll talk about the different Pokemon Go experiences from America and other countries. All right.
We didn't even talk about the Pokemon.
Talk about it. All right, everybody. You be good. Have a great day. Be good to each other. Jay, thank you very much.
Love you, Tyler.
All right. See you guys.
Peace.
Good job, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
Hey everybody, thanks for sticking around to the end. Jay, thank you very much once again for being my guest and spending your time with me. I know your time was limited while you were back home, so I appreciate seeing you. Hope you have a blast on your next part of your venture, and I will keep everybody in the loop when we head out to Germany next year. It's going to be a blast and a half. Alright everybody, thank you again. Like, share, invite your friends. We really appreciate it. The more we can get drumming up, the more people I can meet and bring them onto the show. So next pod, we're going to jump back to go see our buddy Jerome again from episode 1. We're in double digits, so we're going to have a double digit pod. It's going to be a good time. Thanks everybody. See you soon. Oh, one last thing. Check us out on Instagram, High and Hello Podcast. Later.